I'd like to welcome you all here today for the 98th anniversary of the burning of the Customs House, especially those who have travelled great distances to be here today. I'd also like to thank Sean Hogan and the staff of the Customs House and the OPW for letting us host the commemoration, open up the building, and I'd also like to thank Shamie, our piper from the Dublin Fire Brigade. We come here every year to remember our relatives who came from all walks of life to burn the Customs House 98 years ago. To remember those who died here that day. Soldiers normally follow orders blindly, not knowing why they carry out the actions that they have been ordered to do. In the case of the Customs House burning, and indeed the War of Independence, these young men were not ordinary soldiers, they had a vision. They wanted a better life for themselves, their fellow countrymen and women. We are not here to remember or to celebrate what some see as an act of vandalism. We are here to remember these young men who gave up their lives, their youth, and in some cases their future happiness as a result of the actions they witnessed and carried out for their country. The first wreath is being laid today by John Dorins. John is the great nephew of Edward Dorins, who was killed here today 98 years ago. Edward was a member of E Company, the 2nd Battalion. He died here in the fighting. Over the last decade or so, John has been researching the burning and his great uncle's involvement. Thank you.
It's more an honour to them hasses night show her kilmush her hurish, gilta Emily hurish. It's a great honour for me to be standing in this place as a representative of the Dorins family, relatives of Edward Dorins. As being Sean Hickam and Swincher, my head of her blast Jade Neanohan. Couple of beings will wish a blast, Hannig which in show. Die my head of Kiri Green graph of the Haim, like a say in a hassle, and I call it like the clean show. Yn drochwr fi yn eich chlydiau y scaffel ag yn am, agos ni wyrn wyt yn green graff rhyw. Sy'n gymawt se anfrodw, gymawt se yn sio hiw. Here at the memorial, it is impossible for me not to remember my father, who died 10 years ago. A couple of years before his death, we came here. My father wanted to have a photograph of himself standing beside this memorial. Unfortunately, the memorial was covered with scaffolding at the time, and we never got the photograph. But I think he would be very proud if he were here today. Awl gachton yin sio, can do space of him sa star on his lesh night show, agus be meg Fallon radiur and tamerfad. And laugh for yeru, jace me a clar, we van uasel, a rusage in jalor, Jan Renar Gule, a hay allen mar ein a heron, ag say crew the jalavisho, Maeve Taylor. Sanadalu shen vini she grow tawach der lay, ag an cheantar seo díse ar chúisela. Cenas go raibh siise agus trúr da chuid pláistí in aice leis an múama a phléasc an UVF ar an teachú lá déag do bhí na Baltaine, níga déag seachtó ceathair is rééis talgóid. Gortiú na páistí sací sa phléascú, agus déir sí gur gearú lechan duine don na níanacha, agus go raibh crackan a lechan a crochú mar a bhóg póca réba hon. Like everybody here, I am very interested in the history associated with this place, and I am continually learning new things. The other day, I listened to a radio program about the lady whose beautiful face the sculptor Jan Renar Gule used as the face of Ireland when he created the statue, Maeve Taylor. In that interview, she explained that this area has a special importance to her for another reason. Because she and 3 of her children were near the bomb that the UVF exploded on the 17th of May 1974 in Talbot Street. Her children were injured in the explosion, and she describes how one of her daughters was cut and the skin of her cheek was hanging down like a torn pocket. Shami ar agus shriech agus ufa sa harla agus right na seo. It's really hawertach an Germany anu ar na hartri shin agus is tawerty fos the mau room doth gangan ogi. Gang ligan the ruddy ufa sa hadalej harlo a rish go jo sa cheer show. Many massacres and atrocities and horrors have happened on these streets. It is vitally important not to forget these events, and it is even more important that all of us should resolve that we will never allow such things to happen again in this country. I've written a short poem in English to commemorate this occasion. May 25th, 1921, written for 98th Custom House Commemoration 2019. Words like liberty, glory, eternal. Each soft abstraction is rhetoric, a question that answers itself, an echo on the tongue. But here the echo of abstraction returned as action. Words found their echo in the hot blood of the young. Moments happened here that were as real as now. They gathered here vulnerable in the presence of death, brave in terror, uttered a prayer, a muttered vow, and some in this place breathed their last breath. They sacrificed themselves, gave up loves and lives, never saw the tomorrow that they had helped to make. So that now only this cold stone monument survives, and always they change the future for our sake. So we gather here today and talk about Fallon, our pride, and those men who bought our now with blood and pain, because here the truth of guns' mouths cannot be denied. The history books are ledgers full of loss and gain.
Second wreath is being laid in memory of the 4 civilians that were killed in the action, 2 of whom are members of the Customs House staff. The wreath is being laid by Laz Fallon. Laz has researched Dublin Fire Brigade's involvement in spreading the fire in the building for many, many years. He's written 2 books on the subject, which I would recommend if you've not read them already, Laz.
Thank you, Gary. It's a great honour to have been asked to come along today to lay a wreath in remembrance of the civilian dead of this action. I've been a supporter of this event since I first heard of it from Gary, and I think it's a great and very fitting idea to reintroduce this formal remembrance to the national calendar. It grows from year to year, and it's wonderful to see new faces here today among the many familiar ones from past ceremonies. Every war has 3 sides: the 2 protagonists and the civilians who suffer while the others fight. In this action, civilians lost their lives, and we remember them today, just as we remember those members of the Irish Republican Army who died here in pursuit of Irish freedom. In my mind, and in the minds of many here, it's fitting that the civilian dead have their own wreath, their own moment of respect for their passing. As many of you know, my own background and my own journey to this place started as a Dublin firefighter. A fascination with the history of that organisation began to let me open doors to a hidden history of involvement in our country's fight for freedom, including a very active part in the disruption of this centre of British administration in 1921. I remember them too as we stand here today. Joe Connolly, Tom Smart, Tom Kavanagh, Mick Rogers, Austin MacDonald, and the others who did what was needed when the country demanded. It has become the fashion in recent years, and during the centenary celebrations of the 1916 Rising among other events, to simply lay a wreath to remember all who died, without reference to their role. Personally, I regard that as an insult to the memory of those who fought for our freedom, and indeed to the memory of those who were the victims of that fight. Those who also paid a huge price for the freedom we often take for granted. We owe them memory and respect as individuals, and I'm very honoured to lay this wreath to remember John Dorn, James Connolly, Francis Davis, and Matthew Lawless. Thank you.
Now we will call for 1 minute silence for all those people who fought and died here 98 years ago. The steps of the Customs House, and we'll take the group pictures as we do every year, and then we'll go inside for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee.